By hearing ye shall hear, and shall not understand, and seeing ye shall see, and shall not perceive. For this people's heart is waxed gross, and their ears are dull of hearing, and their eyes they have closed.
There is a multi-level conspiracy, a multi-dimensional conspiracy to enslave humanity in a fake reality.
We have before us the opportunity to forge for ourselves and for future generations a new world order.
We've got to wake up, we've got to say no, we've got to get angry and get in the face of the new world order.
He that soweth the good seed is the Son of Man. The field is the world. The good seed are the children of the kingdom, but the tares are the children of the wicked one. The enemy that sowed them is the devil. The harvest is the end of the world, and the reapers are the angels. As therefore the tares are gathered and burned in the fire, so shall it be in the end of this world. The Son of Man shall send forth his angels, and they shall gather out of his kingdom all things that offend, and them which do iniquity, and shall cast them into a furnace of fire. There shall be wailing and gnashing of teeth. Then shall the righteous shine forth as the sun in the kingdom of their Father. Who hath ears to hear, let him hear.
The fear of a global dystopia, a nightmarish future where the masses have been reduced to brainwashed zombies who live under the fist of a totalitarian world government, is becoming an ever-increasing concern in our time. Many have been insisting that our world and the cozy, independent lives we think we live are, in fact, controlled at every turn by a small group of powerful elites who hide in the shadows and conspire to make us more complacent and docile. Knowledge of these shadowy elite and their dark plans of global domination have been known for some time, having been exposed decades ago in the dystopian novels Brave New World by Aldous Huxley and 1984 by George Orwell, both of which seem to have accurately predicted a distant future of unprecedented tyranny and mass brainwashing. Indeed, it seems that every day Orwell's and Huxley's visions are becoming more factual than fiction.
A little bit of breaking news to bring you now in relation to protests that have been taking place today in Trafalgar Square and have subsequently moved to Hyde Park. They were demonstrating against COVID restrictions. Well, we're being told by the Metropolitan Police this evening that there have been 10 arrests and 4 officers have been injured, 2 of whom have required hospital treatment. The police say they're continuing to urge crowds to disperse, and they say that the protest is no longer exempt from the regulations. So that is the anti-COVID protests that have been taking place in Trafalgar Square but have moved to Hyde Park. 10 arrests, 4 officers injured.
Your children! Fighting for your children!
Slave, you were born into bondage, born into a prison that you cannot smell or taste or touch.
At the helm of this state oppression is an ambiguous entity called Big Brother, and every day it requires a ritualistic cult worship to the state. But aside from this tyrannical adulation of Big Brother, there's also a calculated manipulation of language designed for one reason: mind control. People are conditioned through repetition and propaganda.
We just legalized propaganda being used by the government on our own people. We just made that legal. We are literally living in 1984. They are changing the answers to math now.
There are new technologies that provide the expertise to control people totally without their knowledge. Methods of advertising that manipulate us against our will.
As this 1952 CIA memo says, the aim is controlling an individual to the point where he will do our bidding against his will. Dr. Gottlieb wrote that he and his colleagues had been able to maintain contact with the leading edge of developments in the field of biological and chemical control of human behavior.
The significance of the research, he explained, is that although the cell phone power is low, electromagnetic radiation can nevertheless have an effect on mental behavior when transmitting at the proper frequency. What is this article, Jamie?
Scientific American. In Scientific American, it's titled Mind Control by Cell Phone.
So would you think that they're making this 5G
No, they declassified last year a 37-page CIA manual from the 1970s where they were putting up cell towers that look like trees, already testing it in neighborhoods. It's been in the newspaper that the cell towers are being used for mind control.
They use force to make you do what the deciders have decided you must do. They use force to make you do what the deciders have decided you must do.
Orwell refers to it as reality control. The majority of people living under the system are weak-minded, incapable of understanding anything more than the party's worldview. This willful ignorance is instrumental in the state's control over the peons.
The social structure, the control of information, the perpetual state of war, the personification of the party, the telescreens, the snitch culture, all of this stuff is coming to a fruition. We don't have much time before we're living in the Orwellian nightmare.
The world is not random. The world is moving in the direction it is because it's been planned to do that. This is why Aldous Huxley in Brave New World, 1932, and George Orwell, Eric Blair as he was really called, with 1984, published in 1948. That's why they've been so incredibly accurate in predicting the way the world is going, because they weren't coming totally from their imagination. Because this plan for the global Orwellian state of total control, which is daily coming in, I mean, look around. It's not been planned for 5 years or 10 years. It's been planned for a long, 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 long time.
We're going to set up a world government. We're going to slowly titrate the dose and poison the public, dumb them down, put electromagnetic radiation out with 5G that scrambles their DNA, lowers their IQ. We're going to cause mass mental illness and a controlled societal collapse that'll then be organized and controlled in the mop-up crew by robots, controlled by the globalist programmers who believe with the off-world entities they're in communication with, that they're going to be given the operation to upload and be in that larger kind of Borg cube system if they sell the country out. You're not given the real technology. You're not given the real life extension. You're given the crap, Joe. And the Earth is seen as like an egg yolk to give the propulsion power for this new thing that's going to be born. And whether you believe that or not, just like when
the new thing meaning artificial intelligence?
Beyond that. It's beyond a fusion of artificial intelligence and a whole synthesis of new life forms.
Orwell's concepts in particular have proven to possess an eerily predictive quality, such as doublethink, that is, the ability to hold two contradictory opinions simultaneously. This seemingly fictional concept has manifested in our own time in a very real way among radical protest groups that have emerged across the West in recent years. For example, Antifa, or anti-fascists, who use violence to fight for peace. Or the Black Lives Matter movement, members of which claim that blacks are unfairly targeted by a racist police force and yet still show unanimous support for the Democrat Party, whose political platform seeks to have only the police have weapons. It's a frightening development, but reality cannot be ignored. Thousands of brainwashed radicals and protesters across the West have exhibited the very characteristics of the enslaved masses in Orwell's novel. And more than ever before, education and the mainstream media mirror the state-controlled propaganda of 1984's Ministry of Truth, which only allows news and history in line with Big Brother's agenda. Through these propaganda outlets, a gradual and strategic brainwashing campaign has been carried out, giving rise to yet another Orwellian concept, the thought police. That is, groups of people who seek to suppress ideas and speech deemed politically incorrect, as more and more people are being attacked and even arrested for speaking things arbitrarily deemed as hate speech. The rise of political correctness and the resultant fear of saying something potentially offensive is the direct result of totalitarian brainwashing propaganda. As the evidence shows, an alarmingly large number of citizens appeared to have fallen victim to government-sponsored mind control and brainwashing techniques, which have, over time, created a generation completely incapable of independent thought or critical thinking. Consequently, thousands have risen up in support for the abolition of all national borders, a goal that has been explicitly recognized by elites as being an integral part of their plan for a one-world government. In other words, people are actively protesting for their own enslavement. All of these factors, from government surveillance and mind control to political correctness and open borders, are integral to the globalist agenda commonly known by its critics as the New World Order, and never has its existence been more evident or acknowledged than it is today. Since the release of the 1999 film The Matrix, the New World Order has also come to be alternatively referred to as The Matrix, as many perceive the film to be an accurate metaphor for the system of political, social, and psychological control that various aspects of society have over the masses, from political elections to television and movies and the educational system. Those ultimately behind the New World Order, or the Matrix, are believed to be part of a global satanic cult known as the Illuminati, who, through ritualistic blood sacrifice, including that of children, communicate with demonic entities who, in return for sacrifice, grant Illuminati leaders power over the visible world. For decades, this global satanic cult and its New World Order agenda has been recognized by the Christian prophecy community as evidence of Satan's plan to prepare the world for the Antichrist. However, the increasing exposure of the New World Order and its satanic architects in our time makes it seem as though Satan's plans are rapidly unraveling. Even more puzzling is that the New World Order is being exposed primarily by people who, from a truly biblical perspective, are as satanically indoctrinated as those behind the New World Order. It would appear then that Satan's house is divided. How could the great deceiver and leader of the fallen angels allow his own kingdom to be exposed by his very own? The simple answer is that he wouldn't. In the 12th chapter of the Gospel of Matthew, Christ confirms that Satan is not foolish enough to allow his own kingdom to fall through internal division. Satan himself is exposing the New World Order.
You have been grievously deceived.
Even him, whose coming is after the working of Satan with all power and signs and lying wonders, and with all deceivableness of unrighteousness in them that perish, because they received not the love of the truth, that they might be saved. And for this cause God shall send them strong delusion, that they should believe a lie, that they all might be damned who believed not the truth, but had pleasure in unrighteousness. For we are bound to give thanks always to God for you, brethren, beloved of the Lord, because God hath from the beginning chosen you to salvation through sanctification of the Spirit and belief of the truth, whereunto he called you by our gospel to the obtaining of the glory of our Lord Jesus Christ. Therefore, brethren, stand fast, and hold the traditions which ye have been taught, whether by word or our epistle. Now, our Lord Jesus Christ himself and God, even our Father, which hath loved us, and hath given us everlasting consolation and good hope through grace, comfort your hearts, and establish you in every good word and work.